All right, we're continuing our work with patterns and linear functions, and we're going to look at a challenge that's a real-world connection problem as well. And this has a little bit of a curiosity to it that made me want to pose this one as our challenge problem. So here's the scenario. I joined a fitness center, and there's a monthly membership charge. The first month costs $45, and each subsequent month costs $30. And so we're being asked to create a table, graph, and a rule or an equation to represent this scenario. We'll do a lot more with linear equations in the next few videos, in the next few units. But I want to just pose the most common mistaken equation for this right here, which is y equals 30x plus 45. Okay, 30 being the per month and 45 being sort of that initial cost that we need to pay. So that's a mistake, that's wrong. And that's wrong because that $45 includes the first month. Okay, so we need to think of somewhat of a different equation to work for this one. But let's fill in our table first, now that we know what a mistaken answer would be. But let's fill in our table and see if we can make some progress here. And I'm going to fill in the same variables for the x and y axes as well. So the other thing to keep in mind is, in the real world, you might be paying just month by month by month, and so you think month 2 costs 30, month 3 costs 30. But what we're going to be doing is to be tracking our total dollars that we're paying to this fitness center. Okay, so it looks like we were told that the first month cost $45, and then each subsequent month costs an additional 30. So that means our change is going to be plus 30 each time. So 45 plus 30 is 75. We have 105, 135, 165, 195, and we could keep going, but we won't. You could also do something interesting here and backtrack to 0 months. And let's maintain this pattern of plus 30 each time, and that would be $15. No one would ever pay $15 to join a fitness center for 0 months, right? But what that $15 is, maybe you can think about what it is before I tell you. What that $15 is, it's that extra surcharge. It's the extra amount that we need to pay, sort of our joining fee, our application fee perhaps. Okay, so that gives us a little bit of a clue about what our equation might look like, but let's go ahead and graph things. So we need the x-axis to go out to about 6 or so. And we need the y-axis to go up to about 200. I'm going to go up by, each square is going to be 10, but I'll go every other square. Let's see if this works. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. I probably won't get all the way to 200, but we'll still be able to have our patterns show up. Okay, let's plot some points. So month 0 was 15. Month 1 was 45. Month 2 was 75. Another thing that's good to do as you're plotting these points is a way to check your work is to see if they really do fall in a straight line. And if you accidentally misplot a point, it should be pretty obvious once you start to try to connect them. And it looks like we did a pretty good job, so I will go ahead and connect my line through them. Math teachers go back and forth on telling you whether or not we should connect points with a line. And it really depends on the scenario, I think. Here, it might not make the most sense to connect things with a line because the line implies that there are an infinite number of valid points for our function. It's a continuous function is what that line implies. And is that point that I just drew an arrow to, is that a valid part of our function? Would you ever join a fitness center for, it looks like maybe 1.3 months and pay maybe $55. That probably wouldn't happen in the real world, right? You have to pay month by month, okay? But still, I think it's helpful to highlight the fact that we're dealing with a linear function, and all the points should fall on a straight line. All right, so it looks like we have a table, we have a graph, we need to come up with a rule. And again, we're going to be doing a lot more with linear equations down the road, but as a little preview, my linear equation is going to look like y equals change times x plus start. And now that we know our start, we can get the correct answer, get the correct rule. So y equals $30 for every month plus my $15 starting fee. So that would be the correct rule right there. All right, and that's a good place to stop.